The man of the tombs, the human stronghold. The history, trauma, collapse. The legion. The confrontation. The identity war. The storm had been the first sign that something was wrong. But the shoreline revealed the real battlefield. The moment Jesus stepped onto the land, the air changed. The region felt heavy, as if the soil itself remembered pain. This was not neutral territory. This was a place shaped by death, fear, and spiritual occupation. The Decapolis was known for its pagan shrines, its Roman influence, its fractured spiritual landscape. But this particular stretch of land carried a darker story. Tombs carved into the limestone cliffs dotted the hillside. They were meant for the dead, yet one of the living had made them his home. He was not born for this. No child enters the world destined to sleep among graves. Something had happened to him. Something that broke him, then claimed him. Before he was the demoniac, he was a son. Before he was feared, he was known. People once spoke his name with affection. Now they whispered about him with dread. His story did not begin with demons. It began with wounds. Trauma opens doors that darkness loves to walk through. And this man had lived through more than his soul could carry. The scriptures do not detail his past, but the scars on his body tell a story. The chains, the isolation, the violence, these were not the beginning. They were the aftermath. Somewhere along the way, pain became a doorway. And the enemy walked through it. He had been driven from the village. Not because he was evil, but because he was uncontrollable. People fear what they cannot fix. And they feared him deeply. He lived among the tombs because no one else would have him. The dead were his only neighbors. Night after night, his screams echoed across the cliffs. The region learned to sleep through terror. He cut himself with stones, trying to silence the torment inside. Pain felt like the only thing he could control. No chain could hold him. No restraint could calm him. The strength he carried was not human. It was borrowed from the spirits that tormented him. He was a prisoner inside his own body. A hostage in his own mind. And yet, when Jesus stepped onto the shore, he ran toward him. Not away. Toward. This is the mystery of the moment. The demons feared Jesus, but the man longed for him. Inside that tortured frame, a buried will still flickered. A fragment of identity still reached for hope. The demons drove him to isolation. But something deeper drove him to Jesus. This was not just a confrontation between Jesus and Legion. It was a rescue mission for a man who had forgotten who he was. The man fell at Jesus' feet. The demons spoke, but the posture belonged to the man. "What have you to do with me?" they cried. But the man's body stayed bowed in surrender. Identity and occupation collided in a single moment. The true self and the invading spirits fought for the same mouth. Jesus did not speak to the symptoms. He spoke to the source. "What is your name?" Not because he needed information, but because he was exposing the intruders. "Legion," they answered. A word that revealed the scale of the invasion. A Roman legion was thousands. This man carried a spiritual army inside him. No wonder he had supernatural strength. No wonder he lived among the dead. No wonder the region felt oppressed. This was not a single demon. This was a network. A coordinated occupation. A spiritual empire inside one human soul. But even thousands of demons could not stop the man from running to Jesus. Darkness is powerful, but it cannot fully extinguish the human will. The demons begged Jesus not to torment them. They knew his authority. They knew their time was up. The man did not speak, but his silence was a cry for freedom. Jesus heard it. The demons negotiated. Jesus did not. They pleaded for permission to enter the pigs. Jesus granted it, not as mercy to them, but as mercy to the man. The transfer was violent. The pigs rushed down the steep bank and drowned. The region lost its herd. But heaven reclaimed a son. The man collapsed, exhausted. The war inside him ended in a single command. When the villagers arrived, they saw him sitting, clothed, in his right mind. The transformation was immediate. The restoration was undeniable. The man who once terrified the region now sat peacefully at Jesus' feet. The identity war was over. He remembered who he was. He remembered what it felt like to be human. He remembered his name. The stronghold had fallen. The human soul had been reclaimed. And the region, still trembling, had no idea what was coming next. Because the man who once lived among the tombs was about to become the first missionary to the Decapolis. The darkest story in the region was about to become the brightest testimony. But that belongs to the next episode. Thank you for watching this teaching. If it served you, consider liking and sharing it so others can walk through the scriptures with us. You're invited to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next episode as we continue through this series.